The philosophy at Dar al-Qasim is the same as the philosophy of Maulana Qasim Nanotvi himself, which is that living in a non-Muslim society, one in which we are not the political and economic and social engines that drive society, our primary focus has to be understanding, preserving, and propagating our religion for the sake of Najat primarily, and then with that comes the establishment of an Islamic intellectual framework that can provide for the prosperity of the Muslim Ummah as a whole 100, 200, 300 years down the line. By its very nature, Wahy is the thing that gives us Najat. It is something that each individual necessarily needs in order to achieve salvation in the hereafter. Once that is established, once we have the avenue through which we can transmit and represent this intellectual tradition, you're able to build a framework and a foundation upon which civilizations and societies can grow and function. You cannot get the order of this wrong. You cannot hope to establish a Muslim civilization first, and then downstream from that, establish Najat and establish the academic study of the Islamic religion. And this is the genius of Maulana Qasim Nanotvi. In the historical context that he lived in the 19th century, after the British had already carved up the Indian subcontinent, had defeated the Mughals and ended their 300, 400 year rule in the subcontinent, he recognized that if Muslims ever want to rise back up to the point of civilizational glory and social stability that they had before, the first thing that has to be preserved is the ulama and the transmission and study of the religion itself. The British themselves also understood this, which is why a large part of their platform in the Indian subcontinent was the subversion of the ulama themselves and the repression of the ulama through the closing of traditional institutes of knowledge. So for Maulana Qasim, the focus had to shift away from empire building and running an empire towards the propagation and preservation of the religion itself. The most important thing for a Muslim is his individual salvation. Nothing else matters as long as you can make it to Jannah at the end of the day. Once that has been established, once the means through which Muslims can achieve salvation has been established, you can use that framework to talk about civilization building and social organization and economic prosperity, etc., etc. And this is part of what it means to not be reactionary. And this is part of what makes somebody a true alim. A true alim is somebody who thinks 100, 200, 300 years down the line and is understanding the geopolitical forces that are acting on the Muslim world at any particular point in time, and is able to lay a foundation that will bear fruit not just now, but 100 and 200 and 300 years in the future.